Now it's winter, the tree is gone to sleep, they lost their leaves, so it's good time to prune them. Why you do it is to get better crop of healthier, larger apples, keep the pests and diseases down, and keep your trees at manageable height. Before you start, make sure you've got the right tools for the job. So you will need a pair of sharp secateurs. Make sure they are clean and freshly sharpened to make nice clean cuts. Sharp pruning saw, I prefer folding ones because it's much more compact, but for larger branches you may need a bigger one. You might find useful tripod ladder. It's a very stable ladder and it's used at the RHS gardens, and I would thoroughly recommend it. You want to start with removing the dead, diseased and damaged wood. Here we've got a damaged branch which we will be removing. First, I'm going to remove this partly broken branch with my secateurs. It's fairly small cut and it's always good to remove the branches in sections. But for the bigger cut, I'm going to use my pruning saw because the branch is far too thick for my secateurs and you will make much nicer cut with the saw. When pruning, always prune to the branch collar so the pruning wound can heal nicely. Once we finish removing the dead, damaged and diseased wood, it's time to take the next step. We want to keep the crown open so lots of air and light can come in. So this will help with the ripening of the apples and will reduce disease and pest problems. So as you can see, there is quite a few strong branches growing in the middle. They will be removed, but you don't have to be too clinical. We can keep some of the weaker branches intact. They will just help defeat the tree. So when removing a branch, you want to prune to a branch collar, which is this area. You don't want to prune into the stem, making it too flush, or you don't want to keep stumps. So if you prune to branch collar, the tree can regenerate from that area and callus over, put like a woody covering over it and completely seal the wound. This branch is far too big just to take out in one go pruning here, because you will risk a tear. So it's best to take the weight down and prune it into sections. And now we are ready to make the final cut to the branch collar. This branch we are keeping because this is growing nicely outwards and producing nice fruit buds, you can see. Whereas this branch is going sky high and towards the center, and there are no fruit buds on this one. Here we got another one right in the middle, growing very upright, crowding the center, so we are going to remove it. It's still plenty to do on this tree, but I want to show you something else on a different tree. On these smaller trees, I want to show you the basic principles of pruning of the crown. You don't need to worry if your tree is a tip bearer, spare bearer, or partial tip bearer. The basic principles are same for all of them. You may be wondering where to start when pruning your tree. So the best place is to look for any very upright branches. The very tall growth will make your fruit inaccessible. The tree will be progressively taller, so you want to remove such growth. We aim to keep more outward growing branches, which will naturally be more fruitful and keep your tree more compact. I found some couple of strongly upward growing branches, which I would like to remove, but I'm keeping this more outward growing branch. And now I'd like to show you how to bring the height of the tree down without encouraging too much of new growth. So the aim is to take the sections of the branches out rather than just pruning them back. When you are removing a branch, either remove it entirely as we did before, or prune to a branch which is 1/3 in diameter at least of the branch you are removing. The reason is so the sap within the branch can continue flowing through the pruned branch into the follow-on branch. If you just prune to a little shoot, there will not be enough sap flow through the branch, and the branch that was pruned can be prone to die back, which can spread into the healthy wood. This is another good example of a branch which I will remove to bring the height down a bit. The main principle of bringing the height down should be taking section of the branch framework out rather than just pruning it back. And if you prune like this, you get much less of the strong, vigorous, unfruitful shoots, which we call water shoots. Another thing you need to look for is overcrowded growth. This tree is not too bad because it's regularly pruned, but you can still see it's got quite a few branches quite close together. They are crowding each other and shading each other, so we will thin them out a bit. You may have a tree that have not been regularly pruned, so you will need to remove branches rather than just shoots like I will be doing here. Whilst we are here, we would also remove this mummified fruit with a bit of the branch that is attached to, because the disease, this is brown rot, will have spores on the branch and it will cause blossom wilt in the spring. It used to be a common popular practice when pruning apples and pears to prune all this new growth back and leave only few buds. But it's not necessary. To ease overcrowding, instead of trying to prune all the shoots, all the new growth back, it's good to decide there are too many shoots or too many branches, and instead of just pruning them back, you decide which shoots to prune out. Apple pruning is not an exact science. It's more like an art. You have to take few steps back after ideally every major cut and have a look what you've done, if you need to do more or if it's time to stop. If the pruning pile is getting too big and you are removing more than 20% canopy, which is the maximum we recommend to do in each year, you are risking stressing the tree if it's an old one, and or encouraging very vigorous regrowth. The tree can start producing strong upright shoots. We call them water shoots. So pruning too much in one go doesn't achieve anything, because you end up with more growth than you removed. I hope what we've shown you was useful and will help you with pruning of your trees at home. I wish you best of luck.